Hey viewers and viewers, my name is General Red Strategist and welcome back to So You're Being Hunted, episode 599. We're getting closer and closer, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 600. So, I would say, I would say keep your sort of suggestions for, questions for the Q&A or that incoming. But to be honest, by the time this video goes out, me, Phil and Connor probably will have actually recorded episode 600 by now, so do bear in mind we probably won't have, we probably will have actually recorded things by the time this episode is released. But, we're looking forward, I'm looking forward, I should say, in particular, to doing that Q&A because we've had a lot of questions, including some real good ones. Quite a juicy, delicious bunch of questions from you viewers out there. So, really looking forward to doing that. But yeah, just a little announcement there in case anyone is wondering. Yes, by the time this video goes out, likelihood is we will have recorded it. Because the thing is, obviously getting all three of us together will be dependent very much on a time when we're all available. So, just got to pick whatever time we can, essentially, when we are all together, which is fine, So, probably we'll be doing that sooner rather than later and all that. But yeah, I just want to get that out of the way real quick. So we're back here, of course, on our previous map that we were playing last time, which is fine. Just doing another podcast-style episode and all that. I actually kind of wanted to make a quick filler episode just to, go into the schedule and all that. Because I was actually... Well, it's a random topic of conversation that I've got on my mind at the moment, but then again, all my topics of conversation during these podcast-style episodes usually are quite random and all that. But I was actually, so you know that I have a bit of a passion, an interest in all things maritime and nautical related, ladies and gentlemen. Particularly, things like naval history and maritime strategy and maritime security and stuff like that. Because, it partially relates to my academic interests, my interest as a lecturer. It also kind of just relates to childhood interests when I, used to have an absolute fascination for all things to do, for example, with sea life and pirates and just general nautical topics. But earlier today, I was actually just doing some reading on, just general reading basically, on topics of sort of nautical interest, shall we say. So, as a kid, I was of course always fascinated by ships. Big sort of nautical vessels for transiting the sea, blah blah blah. And when you're a kid, you sometimes you get these like big books, for example, big sort of hardcover books that you can find in, for example, like charity shops, second-hand bookshops, etc., which is like, biggest warships of the world, things like this, big sort of full-page photographs and illustrations. And sometimes you get those sort of books where it has like those kind of like cutaway drawings, where it's like, it peels back the outer layer of, say, like a car or an aeroplane or something, shows you what the internal gutty works of it look like. And of course, there's more than a few examples of those for ships and things like that. Here's a picture of a container ship cut out, that sort of thing. Here's a picture of a warship, an aircraft carrier, a Nimitz class or whatever. Well, so I was, obviously I found that kind of thing interesting as a kid, and I still do as an adult, And so I was reading about ships just earlier today out of general interest, and it kind of started off with me sort of reading about what you would call well docks in certain types of ship. So if you don't know what a well dock is, this is typically a feature on military/naval ships. I don't know why I said military ships, maybe naval ships, because predominantly naval vessels. But basically, if you know what an amphibious assault ship is, you've probably seen examples, pictures of ships that have what are called well docks. Basically, an amphibious assault ship is a ship that is used for moving ground forces around and for being able to land them in amphibious operations from ship to shore. And a lot of modern amphibious assault ships have these things called well docks, usually towards the stern of the vessel. And you might have seen pictures of it, where it's basically kind of like a hangar at the sort of waterline at the stern of the vessel, which they can literally flood it, open it up, and you can literally sail small boats and amphibious vehicles in and out of. So I was reading about that kind of thing at first. And then I sort of got from the topic of military ships to civilian ships. So I was looking at how apparently it's not just the military ships that sometimes have these well docks. There are some limited examples of civilian vessels. So apparently in Germany they have these things called, I'm probably butchering the pronunciation, but they had these things called Bako liners, freaking like back in the 80s or whatever, which were run by this shipping firm. And essentially what they were was they were container ships, but they also had like a well dock that opened out at the front of the ship, and you could sail literally big barges loaded with more containers actually inside them, which is crazy, you know. I'd never actually seen anything like that before. I was unaware that that was even a thing. You know, loading a ship up with barges. It's like putting a ship inside a ship. But then again, I don't know why that surprised me, because, I mean, there are all kinds of crazy nautical machines out there, you know, like flip ships. You don't know what they are. They're basically like research ships that sort of like sink until they're vertical in the water and they become literally like a floating scientific platform. Then you have things like literally ships that are designed to act as carriers for other ships, things like that. It's crazy stuff. If you look on Wikipedia, you'll find lots of information. So I was reading about these BACO liners, which stands for barge container, essentially, BACO. And so I was reading there, and then from there I sort of got on to a more sort of general topic about largest ships in the world. And in particular, I was reading about a ship which I have heard of and I have seen plenty of pictures of, and I've always been kind of fascinated by, just for its design and its construction. And the ship I'm talking about is, as of 2023, the largest cruise ship in the world. And it's called the Icon of the Seas. And it's going to be the first, well, it is, I should say, the first of its class, called the Icon class cruise ship. It's going to be operated by Royal Caribbean, the luxury cruise provider. And yeah, if you've never seen pictures of the Icon of the Seas, go and have a look at it. It is one of the craziest fucking things you'll ever see. Because like I say, it basically is the largest cruise ship ever built. And it did its sea trials actually earlier this year, something like June or July. And I believe it's basically going to be going into proper operation from early 2024. And it's insane. Like, it's a ship with about 20 decks. It has fucking like a water park with about 7 friggin' slides, 6 or 7 water slides on one of its upper decks. It has this crazy fucking like dome structure towards the front, just over the bridge, where I believe they have like a theatre, stuff like that. Sorry, I'm getting gas coming up my throat from my tea. Jesus. Sorry, that's how I'm excited I'm getting talking about the Icon of the Seas, ladies and gentlemen. And some of its cabins are ridiculous. They're like multi-storey, multi-room cabins. There's even one that's called like a family townhouse on it, where it has literally 2 floors across, you know, a couple of decks, and one floor is connected to the other via a slide for your kids, you know, just for them to have some fun. But it is quite something to look at, and it is very impressive from kind of like a marine architecture perspective, because you think the sheer amount of money that must have gone into the design and construction of that motherfucking thing is crazy. And the thing is, like I say, that's just the lead in its class. There's going to be more of those built. I believe Royal Caribbean is aiming to have a maximum of 3 of them. So they've got one of them, basically has passed its sea trials and is ready for service in early 2024, and they're going to have 2 more of them, which is insane, because you think to yourself, my god, the amount of money that must have been expended on those things, they better be dang profitable, essentially is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, they're crazy. I mean, don't get me wrong, they look impressive. They look fantastic. They're just huge. It's basically a floating city. And I think to myself, you know, cruises are not something that I've ever really thought about ever doing myself. Mainly A, because most cruises are kind of expensive, but also because I'm not hugely keen. Although I obviously love the ocean, and I love all things to do with the ocean, I can't say cruises are something that's ever really appealed to me, because I don't know, I just can't. I don't find the idea of being cooped up on an oversized kind of sardine tin for however many weeks, with limited time length stopovers in certain ports, with just limited amounts of time to go ashore and explore. I can't say I really find that appealing. And certainly, I don't know, I sometimes look at certain cruise ships like the Icon of the Seas and I think to myself, you know, with all like the fucking bars and lounges and the theatre and the sheer number of people aboard it, even at night I feel like it would probably be very noisy. And I just don't think I'd be into that. So yeah, cruises, not something that have ever appealed to me. But having said that, Icon of the Seas, I would love to step foot on board it and have an opportunity to explore it. Not to sail on it, just to go on it and just wander around at my own pace and just look at every sort of amenity that that ship actually has on it, and then just marvel at the sheer amount of work and dedication it must have taken to actually build and float that damn thing. Yeah, I can appreciate it for that very much, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, seriously, like, look at the shape of it. It's crazy. It has, like, certain parts where the superstructure is kind of like two parallel blocks, to put it this way, with kind of like an alleyway down the middle of them. Like I say, it's literally like a floating city. It's kind of crazy. I'll try and see if I can put some pictures in of it as I'm talking, because I'm sure people would enjoy that. But yes, I just really wanted to talk about Icon of the Seas, because why the hell not, ladies and gentlemen? It's a fascinating subject and all that. But the thing is, I feel like with every class of cruise ship that companies like Royal Caribbean and Carnival, with every class of cruise ship they develop or they commission or whatever, it feels like they always try to go bigger and bigger with each one. The thing is, so if you, to give you a sense of the scale of Icon of the Seas, I think I saw a image that had some stats on it, and apparently I think it's something like 5 times the length of the Titanic. So that's pretty big. And I think it has a capacity for up to about 7,000, somewhere between 7,200 and 7,500 people aboard it. So that's about 2,300 and something crew members, and then about 5,000 whatever passengers, which is insane. You know? You sort of think to yourself, if ever that ship went into an emergency, where people had to get to the lifeboats, they better hope that they can get everyone into the lifeboats fast enough. Alright, game, don't start lagging out on me, please. Saw it sort of felt like it was lagging a little bit then, but never mind. Alright, yes. It's funny how I always get these kind of random topics into my head, and I just have to sort of record a Sir episode and just splurge it all out in one big stream of consciousness during a video. Well, not really one big stream of consciousness, but I just have to sort of splech it all out of my mouth, out of my brain holes, because I'm so fascinated by it. I mean, the thing is, you guys probably find it boring as hell, because you guys are like, yeah, it's just a ship, Red. What the hell? Yeah, can you tell I have a very, very niche interest, ladies and gentlemen? Can you tell? Is it showing? Who knows? So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed listening to me just ramble and rave about that, ladies and gents. But seriously, go and look at pictures of it. It's fascinatingly weird. And amazing. Don't get me wrong, amazing, but quite something. I'm trying to think now about, you know, other ships that are unusually designed. They have crazy layouts and things like that. Maybe that'd be another good future topic of conversation for the videos, because I can definitely think of weird ships throughout history that I would love to talk about for how strange they were, or how, not necessarily strange, but certainly how unusual, perhaps, they were in their design, or whatever else have you. Right, I'm going to sip of tea. Also, my computer chair keeps frigging going down. I keep having to raise the central column on it. If you were watching my propagandist channel months ago, during my friggin' Ruby Let's Watches, you'll be aware of that. And you'll probably be vastly entertained by the sight of me slowly descending over the course of the video without even realising it. But yeah, I need to get myself a new computer chair at some point. Otherwise I'm kind of constantly be having to pull it up every time, or just get one of the chairs from my lounge and move it in here, which I kind of don't really want to have to do, but yeah, what can you do? You know, speaking of propagandists, that reminds me, I've got friggin' videos I need to publish over on there. Friggin' videos, reactions to various stuff that I recorded fucking ages ago and still haven't published on that channel. So I really need to get cracking on with that, ideally. Maybe I'll start doing that very soon. Having said that, by the time this video goes out, I'll probably have already started doing them. Murder drones, ladies and gentlemen. I did reactions to the first sort of 5 episodes of it. The 6th episode in that series has come out, and I need to record that to do a reaction to it, since I've done the first 5 and all that. Why the hell not? So, if you want to keep your eyes peeled on the Propagandist channel, you may have that to look forward to, mightn't you, ladies and gentlemen? You have something there that you might enjoy. The things I do for you lot, you're all spoiled for good stuff. Sorry, I didn't really mean for the ending of this episode to become me just sort of having a sort of passive-aggressive go at my audience, but what can you do, eh? Alright, I know this is just a short episode, maybe only about 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes or so, but I think that's probably a good time to wrap up there. Basically, yes, I just wanted to record a quick episode where I could ramble and rave about Icon of the Seas for however long. So there you go. First one to the links down below, along with the link to my Propagandist channel. That didn't even sound right. Let me try that again. Link below to my Propagandist channel down in the video description. If you enjoyed, a like is always appreciated, and hope you'll join me, Phil and Connor, hopefully, for episode 600 for the Q&A. I know that's what you're all looking forward to, motherfuckers. It's going to be a nice big one. Sorry, I won't insult you all that. Please watch my video. Goodbye, everybody. Big stationery. That's it. This is just not at all. Right. So, this thing is just like that. This is so risky. Okay, hold on. Clear. Sorry, clear. Leave here. Right. You. Hit that guy. Clear. Slash that guy to pieces. Here we go. That's the 2 of them out.